Well, well, well. Brian Sicknick. Ah, this guy. So this is the guy. This is the guy that when the fighting died down, you know, when the when the people when we the people um had our fighting die down a little bit, Brian Sicknick is the guy that went after us and started macing people who were just standing there. Brian Sicknick, fresh faced and waiting to mace you if you want to go inside and hold your politicians accountable. You know, instead of taking this as a don't fuck with we the people moment, the FBI, like like Twitter, like Facebook, like Amazon, don't seem to be taking a hint. Instead of actual law and order, we have unstable police going after the crowd, okay? This Brian Sicknick guy wasn't gonna let the violence die down. He wasn't gonna do it, okay? When you have an angry dog in front of you, all right, you want it to not bite you. So maybe you punch it in the nose or whatever. Now, if that dog goes away and you punch it and it goes away, you let it go away or you let it do whatever. Or like you don't, like if something is attacking you and it stops and it's a person, you know, let them go. They're not attacking you. And if you want to have the actual legitimately healthy narrative on your side, you don't go after the crowd. Okay? You wait for them to come to you and then you do what you got to do. I can totally understand that. But this guy, Brian Sicknick, it turns out he was the one that was going after, and I mean like going after people. Why he didn't just simmer down, let the situation cool down, and more importantly, let us into the Capitol. And now the people that wanted to get into the Capitol, that were trying to push the cops back, these traitor ass cops, these useless traitor ass cops, I said it 1,000 times before, they had no business keeping us out of the building. Okay? We showed up at that building for a reason. We didn't show up to the building to start violence. We showed up to the building because this was a day that we were going to go inside, watch the vote, and see what our politicians were up to. But Brian Sicknick decided it would be a good idea to aggressively go after members of the crowd, to aggressively attack members of the crowd. He thought it would be a good idea. Well, guess what? He's dead now. A bunch of angry ass Americans who recognized him for the traitor that he was. Ugh. See, bad shit happens when traitor cops show up. Okay? One of the policemen told one of the peaceful protesters that was there that you should never have come to the Capitol because every time you people, whatever the hell he means by you people, show up, bad stuff happens. I don't hear none of this rhetoric from the cops towards Black Lives Matter. I don't hear none of that. Instead, all I hear is that you can just abuse Trump supporters. You can shit on them. You can beat them. You can mace them. You can make them bleed. You can just, kill them in the street. People who served in the army. Yeah? You can just kill them, shooing right through the neck. Bang! Right through the neck. 14 years old. Okay? 14 years old, got her whole life in front of her, just wanted to get a code for Pokemon. And while she was in the business of getting that code for Pokemon Go, the DC pigs decided it would be a good day to kill a little girl. Where's the facial recognition for that officer? Why is the FBI not looking at him? Oh, because he's one of the DC pigs. He gets to get away with murder. He gets to get away with just killing little girls who are minding their business and just trying to find Pokemon codes to play a game. Yet, Officer Sicknick over here decides it's a good idea to attack an angry mob. Tell me something. If anybody from any police department watches this video, when is it a good idea to attack an angry mob that has you pinned down inside a tunnel? 50 officers got injured. And they got injured because they are traitors to their country. Traitors. Filthy, rotten traitors to their country. That's why they got injured, okay? Let's keep it 1,000% real. Okay? They got injured because they tried to stop us from going into a building. We went there without gas masks. Left our weapons behind. We left our weapons behind. And what we arrived on the scene of was an act of treason by the DC police. Give me a second here. We arrived on the scene to find DC pigs telling us we should all go home because we're never going to get into the Capitol. What is this shit? The President of the United States called us to the Capitol so that we could see something wild. And indeed, it was wild. One Trump supporter got punched in the face. One got shoved down to the ground twice. All right, she got shoved down. She stood up, dusted herself off, stood up again. The guy shoved her down again. Hard. I'm not talking about like step back, whatever. I mean, he shoved her, boom, like towards the ground. Boom. Boom. Right? She hits the ground, gets back up again. All right? So this guy put his hands on women. All right? So when he goes home tonight, when he went home that night of the 6th, he probably beat his wife. But DC pigs get away with this shit. It's just another day of the double standard. Just another fucking day of the double standard. Right? And what are they doing now? They're going after people in a highly emotionally charged environment. What do? They bait you. They poke you. They make you bleed. And then when you decide that you don't want to bleed anymore, so you have to eliminate the source of the bleeding, what's cutting you, what's hitting you, what's macing you, what's attacking you, when you're just standing there trying to get into your house. This is what makes you a terrorist in 2021. This year is not shaping up to be any better than 2020. Okay? It's really not. It's shaping up to be just as shitty, if not more. Right? Because they go after people as terrorists. The FBI goes after people as terrorists because They were attacked. And they defended themselves. We were attacked for showing up to the Capitol building. Right? And this asshole named Officer Sick in the Head Nick decided it would be a good idea to attack people, to attack an angry mob. As if Trump supporters have no reason to be angry. We were there to stop the steal because DC is corrupt. It doesn't work for us anymore. It works for China. That's why it was getting ready to confirm Joe Biden, right? But we got other plans. We don't recognize Joe Biden, and we're going to stand in his way. Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it fucking takes. The true insurrection comes from these China bought and sold politicians. Okay? It comes from Muriel Bowser. It comes from Nancy Pelosi. Shout out, you got your laptop seized. You got your laptop seized, you salty bitch. That's why tomorrow you want the president to be impeached. That's why you're trying to blackmail Pence so that he'll pass you the 25th Amendment along with America on a red platter patterned with the Chinese flag. Okay? So let's make sure this is in perspective. Let's make sure it's perfectly square. Right? DC pigs got what they deserved. Okay? I got no sympathy for Sicknick because I was there and I saw everything. And it was absolutely insane. I have never seen such an act of treason in my life. In my whole life. I've never seen so much treason going on in one place. Right? The DC police had one obligation. Remove the barricades, all of them, stand aside, and provide we the people with a police escort into our house. What did they choose to do? They chose to mace us. They chose to punch us in the face. They chose to beat us. They chose to just see us as irrelevant. But there weren't enough of them to stop us. And they weren't prepared to initiate the absolute public relations nightmare that would have been them using live ammunition on us. I know they were itching to because I saw one of the patriots there. He had a rip in his hat brim right there. He had a baseball cap on. I think it was a MAGA hat. It was a red MAGA hat, and they shot him in the face with a rubber bullet, ripped his hat. Right? That's treason. That's insurrection. That's the DC swamp rebelling against we the people. That's violence. That's use of force. That's terrorism. Okay? FBI? I don't know if you're going to listen to this or take heed to it, but you need to be looking more closely at the footage from Officer Sicknick and why exactly he got beat the fuck to death. Don't attack an angry mob. Don't attack a mob that has good reason to be very angry. Don't be surprised if after you bait the bull gives you the horns. It's a natural reaction. Okay? It's a natural reaction to being the constant subject of the leftist double standard. And it's very sad that it had to cost somebody their lives. But you motherfuckers ain't gonna learn. Are you? You're not gonna take this and put it in your strategy meetings and say, when the people show up to their house, we should just let them in. We should let them in peacefully. Officer Sicknick could still be alive. Nobody had to get punched in the face. Nobody had to get maced. Nobody had to get shoved. Nobody had to get shot with rubber bullets. It could have been it could have been such a beautiful day on Capitol Hill. It could have been a day for freedom and the democratic process. It could have been a day that made the Republic great. But instead, it was a day of treason. It was a day of righteous rage. And it was the day that Nancy Pelosi and a bunch of corrupt lawyers had their shit seized. Right? So this is why I think the DC swamp is going after regular Americans who were there to put a check on their government, to hold their government to account, because we are sick and fucking tired of you errant ass servants, public servants. You got punished on the 6th. Deal with that. Learn from it. And stop rebelling against your masters. Because that's what we the people are. Your masters.